I think this is gonna be a kind of shorter video. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We are going to be discussing something that you guys ask me all the time. You are constantly asking how I edit my Instagram photos. I've gone into detail about it before, and that was more of a computer desktop situation. You guys seem to be wanting how I edit my photos on my phone, which is a much simpler process. So this is actually gonna be like a pretty straightforward video. This is something that I feel like within the last 2 years, I kind of like honed in on what I like the most. And I think I've really kind of got it down to like a pretty simple pattern. Screen record so that you can see what I'm doing. So here are some photos that I haven't edited yet. I took them here at the house by myself on self-timer mode, and I haven't played with them yet, and I'm actually really excited to get going with this. When it comes to apps that I like to use, I have a lot, and I'm not gonna go through all of them. If you guys haven't seen my phone organization video, I'm gonna link that down below. I had so much fun organizing it, but the second row down here, I have all of my editing apps that I use the most. They're all in this second line, and I have a bunch more in here. I have my Lightroom app. I have the Teza app. Unfold is so much fun, of course. One of my absolute favorites to this day, that has been one of my favorites from the very beginning, is VSCO. It has updated a lot. If you haven't touched it in a while, maybe check it out again because it's pretty straightforward. I think if I had to pick my absolute two favorites, it would be VSCO and Lightroom. So let's just dive into VSCO here. Here is one we can play with right now. I personally have fallen in love with A6, A2, HB1, and HB2. Those are my core presets. I never actually just paste one on there and export it. I play around with it a lot. So if I was to do A6, which already looks incredible, before, after, I like having the like warmer tones, and I like having the shadows. What I do think is it's a little bright, I think. It washes out my face just a tiny bit in the background, and my shirt's also white, so there's a lot of white going on. So I would just go into editing, exposure, and I do this with almost all of my photos. I don't like super bright photos. I think you miss out on a lot of like the tones and the shadows and stuff when it's overexposed. So what I would do is at least drop this down to 0.5. Already made a huge difference. I think 1 is a little much, so I'm gonna bump it up to 0.5. Absolutely any photo I think looks 10 times better if you bump the sharpening up just a tiny bit, not extreme. Just a little bit of sharpening makes it look way more professional. Probably one of my top favorite editing tools in VSCO is white balance. You can really play with the temperature here, and this is what I think dramatically changes any photo. But if I bring it up from 0 down just a little bit, it gives it a little more of a cooler vibe. Vice versa, if I go up just a little bit more, it just gets a little bit warmer. I like how my skin looks when I bump up the temperature just a little bit. That makes a huge difference. It's a little too warm. So I think I'm actually gonna drop this back down to 2 instead, because it just looked a little too orange for my taste. But yeah, I think that looks really good. The cool thing with VSCO is if you take a bunch of photos with the same settings and the same situation and same lighting, then you can kind of copy paste it to all the rest. So what I would do here is I would just click more, copy edits, tap the other 2 photos that were taken in the exact same place, click more and paste edits. And then it color corrects them to the exact same edits that we did in this first photo. Then I will just export these and save them to my camera roll. And here you go, the first photo, the second photo, and the third photo. Okay, so here's before, and here's after. Before, after. Before, and after. Now normally I would leave like some blemishes here and there or something like that. The scab on my knee just is not cute. So the app that I normally use for stuff like that is Snapseed, and I've had this app for probably like 3 years. So I'm just gonna give you an example of what I would do. I would open up the photo. As you can see right here, my knee looks disgusting. So you would go into tools, you would go into healing, which looks like the 2 band-aids on the left right here, click that. Then what I like to do is I like to just zoom in as much as I possibly can. You wanna be very delicate when you do it. It usually takes me a couple tries because I usually go too hard at first. Sometimes it's better to just kind of dot it instead of smooth it out with your finger. Again, I don't wanna completely erase it. I don't mind if it's showing, I just don't want it to look like god awful. So I'm just gonna tap here and there until it looks like a bruise-ish, you know, it doesn't need to look all scabby, that's gross. There we go. And then always, always, always zoom completely out of the photo and make sure everything looks good. I think that this looks great, so much better. I could go into stuff over here. Obviously, a little blemish there, a little blemish there. I don't want to delete and completely like smooth out my face because that's not natural, that's not normal, but like the big bumps and stuff I would get rid of. And other than that, I think this photo is done. Okay, moving on to the next app. Lightroom is probably my absolute favorite. I will go ahead, just a little disclaimer, I do think it takes a little more knowledge using it, but it's not difficult to do. If I were to suggest something, what I would do is I would get some presets from influencers that you love, photographers that you follow. A lot of freelance photographers have their own presets for sale and could definitely use your support if you're looking for any. I'll have some linked below. Download those, and then when you copy them and put them onto your photo, you can see what they've adjusted and what percentage they've adjusted it to, so that can kind of give you an idea of what you could do for your photos. Because if you like their presets, then you would want to do something similar. Does that make sense? That's how I kind of taught myself. And then also there's just a ton of YouTube videos that you can follow as well. Yeah, let's use the same ones. And I'm going to take a preset that I love, I'm gonna copy that and put it onto this one. So on a separate photo album, I have my friend Nicole who does photography. I have her presets saved on here. This one is my absolute favorite. All you'd have to do is click the 3 dots, copy settings, click the check mark, go back to your album, recently added, here we go, then you click the 3 dots and paste settings. You'll learn that when you take presets from someone else, it's not gonna obviously and automatically give you that exact thing. So what I would do here is, it's obviously way too warm, so you would go into color and lower the temperature. She has it at +7. I'm gonna drop it down. -5. Down here is saturation. She has it at -15. I'm going to drop that down to -21. We're gonna go into lighting, drop that down just a little bit. That's too dark. Again, here it is before, and then here it is after. This has a little bit of a warm tone still, so that's bothering me. Gotta fix that. I think I'm going to go back to color and drop this down a little bit more. Yeah, I like that. Then we can go back to exposure. She has the blacks raised to 20, so I'm going to drop that just a little bit because again, I like the shadows a lot. And I think that looks very similar to the way I edited it on VSCO. So let's export this. We're gonna go back to albums just to give you a little before and after. So here's the photo I edited in VSCO, and here is the photo I edited in Lightroom. It's a little different, obviously, because I used someone else's presets, but very similar vibes in my opinion. And yeah, you can play with it even more, you can change it up completely, but it's so much fun, and I feel like that's how I've learned the most on Lightroom. Now we've played with those photos, I think that we should do one more. So I took this with my DSLR and I had it just kind of tilted on something, and then I sat in front of it and just posed however I wanted. This was just a more like funky artsy move. So what I'm gonna do here is the exact same thing. We're going to go to Nicole's presets. I'm going to click one of these. I think I'm gonna do this one for now just to change it up. Copy settings, okay. Go back to my album, click the photo, and paste settings. Okay, so here's the picture with just the preset on it. It's a little saturated. Obviously, my skin looks red. So all we're gonna do is go into color, scroll all the way down. Saturation is at -15. I'm gonna drop it even farther. So I'm gonna go down, 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 down until it looks a little more like my natural skin color. That is actually perfect. I don't think I'm gonna play with it anymore. I think I'm just going to export that to my camera roll. And yeah, so those are the 2 apps that I use religiously. If I am to post anything that isn't professionally taken, that's how I would edit my photos. And I hope that this was helpful for you guys. So if you guys want to see more videos like this in the future, let me know. I can do that. That's easy. And yeah, happy photo editing.